they gone yet? Oh, they are. Excellent. Now I can sunbathe in peace. Take your sand dollars and scram, you egg.
The Patrick Star game is the newest SpongeBob SquarePants game, coming to us courtesy of developer PHL Collective and publisher Outright Games. Now in this one, you're going to play as Patrick, and it's set in Bikini Bottom, which will be your sandbox for all the different activities that you can partake in. You're never really given definitively a story, and you're cut loose pretty early. It does give you tutorials as you interact with different things so that you can learn how to play the different mini games and activities, so it never leaves you in the dark. And playing as Patrick is pretty satisfying. You can move and jump around. You can also roll for some added mobility. He can sleep and burp his way through all of the various activities here. Your main objective in this game is to simply just complete activities, find mayonnaise jars collectibles, and you'll earn sand dollars. You can also complete feats, which are tracked really well in the menus. And that's pretty much your main goal, is to acquire these sand dollars. Now, to roll the credits and essentially beat the game, so to speak, you need 999 of them. There's way more sand dollars than you need to finish the game, and these will unlock costumes for Patrick from episodes of the show. So you can customize Patrick. You don't have to purchase these. They simply unlock when you reach the threshold of sand dollars. Now, one of the cores of the game is interacting with various items. You can equip certain things that are like backpacks. Like one is a power washer that you can use to spray water, and there's like activities where you have to clean up or maybe push away certain NPCs that are making a lot of noise, and that's just one example. But there's also items in the world that you can grab with one of your two hands, and you can have two different items, one in the right and one in the left, and interact with them individually. So the controls as a result of this are honestly a bit more complicated than what you might expect for a kid's game, but they do always include the control layout in the bottom left corner of the screen when you're interacting with something, so you never feel like, oh, what do I have to push in order to do this or to do that. It's always clearly laid out there for you. And this will also bring me to my first complaint about the game, though, is that there's often way too many things on the screen between the heads-up display and text when you complete a feat or a mission, and those are always dead smack in the center of the screen. So if you're like doing a race, for example, and you finish a feat, it's going to block your view because the text is large and right in the middle of the screen. So that's my first complaint. It's kind of a minor one. It's not really a deal breaker, but it is pretty annoying when this does occur. A lot of the items that you can interact with have some like really wacky physics, and you could do some ridiculous stuff. I don't know how much of this is as intended and how much of this is just like weird happenstance, but I did some pretty crazy stuff, and it was kind of humorous to just fly around the screen in like this big American Gladiators orb with a water pack on my back and just shoot through the sky. There's a lot of goofiness to this, and it works even if it's not as intended because it fits the SpongeBob theme. Another thing that really suits the SpongeBob theme is the visuals. The visuals look just like the cartoon. Even on the Switch, they look pretty nice. They're a little bit more pixely and not quite as high resolution, obviously, but they still look nice here. To go along with the visuals, though, unfortunately, is my second complaint, and that's the frame rate. I don't need any special software to be able to tell you that this runs at 30 frames per second. But the problem isn't the 30 FPS. The problem is that it's not a smooth 30 FPS. It's often going to dip and stutter, and in activities that require you to be quick and are timed, that's frustrating. So those were the activities like the races and things where you're pressured that were my least favorite. And I don't like these anyways, but I certainly like them even less here. The variety in the activities is really great. There's tons of them. There's driving, there's flying, there's like destruction ones and collecting ones. Some are platforming. So much to do here. And the best part is you can do it all at your leisure whenever you want. If there's a specific activity that you don't really like, you don't have to do it if you just want to beat the game. Now, obviously, if you want to complete it and do everything, you'll have to. But the whole world, and by the whole world, I mean Bikini Bottom, is open to you from the start. You can play this in any order. Play anything you want, explore as much as you want, interact with whatever you want, and do some wacky stuff. And the whole point of the game is really to make your own fun. Interacting with the different characters from the show, there's some humorous dialogue.
Woohoo! Aw, yeah, that was fun. Maybe later we could have a sleepover and bake cookies and play board games and read comic books. Don't forget to bring pizza. See you later, Gary.
And the delivery and tone of all this is so incredibly on point for what you would expect in a SpongeBob game. That is certainly probably the highlight to me, is how much they nailed the look and the feel of the show. So if you're a huge fan of SpongeBob, I think you're in for a treat with the dialogue. The game is really silly, and that's the intent, and parts of that made it really fun to me. I enjoyed kind of exploring around and seeking out the different activities and then partaking in the ones that I enjoyed, and I kind of shied away from the ones that I didn't. It took me a few hours to play enough to earn the required 999 sand dollars, and once you do that, you unlock what is kind of the last activity, I guess, because that's the one that rolls you the credits. But you're always free to come back and engage in anything else that you might not have done yet. So in this game, expect one that's just going to cut you loose and allow you to make your own fun and engage in its different systems, activities, searching for the collectibles, and you can even just mess around with the different things that you can hold in your hands and things like that. Most of the activities were pretty fun. There were a few I didn't really like. There's some like overcooked ones where you gotta put together meals and deliver them to the patrons. These ones, the way they control felt kind of wonky to me, and I only tried them a few times, and I think after a few times, you'll probably have the hang of it and be able to get the gold medal, but I just didn't really like these. And then the driving ones I wasn't really crazy about, just because of the frame rate and the stuttering like I mentioned, so it's really easy to mess up. But as a whole, I really enjoyed playing Patrick's Star Game. I just don't know if I would recommend you play it on the Switch. The Switch version is definitely playable. It's 100% playable. But if you have other platforms available to you, PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, and you play those just as much as you play the Switch, I would definitely recommend you get this for one of those, because the performance issues are certainly they're almost a deal breaker for me. If the Switch is your only platform, you can absolutely have fun with this, but I would definitely recommend you play this elsewhere for that reason. I hope you enjoyed this review and found it helpful. If you did, like the video, comment below if you have any questions on anything I might have missed, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But until next time, have a good one.